I can speak to the highest bosses in eye level and tell them exactly what I think. Even the most stupid employee would never do that, right? Because you don't tell your boss that he's doing everything wrong, if that's the case.
Right.
So when I come in, I'm totally objective. I can listen to the cleaner in the office, and I can listen to the CEO, and still, be totally honest all the way.
Thank you, Martin, for accepting our invitation to come on our podcast. It is a huge honor. But in the beginning, could I ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about who you are, and also just what you want the audience to know about you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm Martin. I'm 46 years old. I live north of Copenhagen. I've been a real estate agent most of my adult life. I've had several stores in Copenhagen, a lot of employees. A few years ago, I decided that the real estate agency business was not boring, but maybe a little. I've tried everything there is to try. And also I felt I had a lot to offer when it comes to leadership, sales. I have a lot of education and also a lot of experience. The thing is, when I go into something new as an employee, I've always managed to come in places where there was need of something new, need of growth. I don't know why that is. I guess it's not a coincidence.
Don't you think that that's actually because every place needs something new, but you maybe have that mindset of looking for things that are...
That could be as well, but regardless, every time I've always managed to get this business going the right way. And when the business has become good, successful, then I'm bored. So that's an issue, and that's actually very stupid, because I have had lots of times in my life where I could just maybe lay back a little and make a lot of money, but I guess that's not the most important thing for me. So I need challenges all the time.
I totally understand that. Yeah. So why have you started your career, or maybe you haven't started in the realty business? But how did you get there? What was the reason why this was basically the biggest part of your work life? What was the reason?
Well, I started right after the gymnasium in Denmark. I was firmly set on leadership. So I was actually going to the army, and I was through a very hard acceptance process in the Danish army. To being an officer, like a lieutenant. That's a 5-year long education. So I was accepted amongst a few, and I started in the army. I got through the sergeant time, and after that I felt like the army was a bit too square, too set. So changes was not something that was very accepted as a leader. You had to be very high up, and it would take a long time. That's the system is very set, firm. So I quit after my sergeant time, and I started. I like the education part, educating people. I did that as a sergeant. That's also part of the army. So I started teaching as a fitness instructor for a few years, and also I taught at the Royal School of Ballet as a Danish teacher. And after that, I went to Las Vegas, where I have family, and I met a female realtor, real estate agent, Marianne, and I was driving around with her in the daytime because I had nothing to do, and I couldn't work in the US because of the green card and all that. So, and that was very fascinating, very nice. So when I got back from Vegas, I was firmly set on that's the way I want to go.
Okay, so so that was basically kind of like a very short mentorship from her to you.
Yeah.
That you could understand how this works.
Yes.
And
yes.
Then you just... And was it easy to start back in Denmark when you returned, or?
No, it wasn't easy, and still today it's pretty hard to get this trainee spot, because the thing is, to be a real estate agent in Denmark, you have to have the school, the education part, but you also have to have 2 years of experience. So 2 years of work experience. If you don't have that, then you cannot be a real estate agent, licensed real estate agent. So there's a fighting over the few spots there is. So I walked around with the what's it called? Some papers about
CV?
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
CV.
Yeah.
In Copenhagen, and I just went in like I think I was 20 years old, and I was just going in like, can I speak to the boss? And they're like,
I want it,
who are you?
yeah.
Well, I have to leave this. So if the boss wasn't there, I left it. And I guess they thought that was kind of cool, because I got a lot of propositions. So I started in Denbolig, which is one of the big chains in Denmark. Yeah, and was there for 7 years, and then got my own and leadership and all that. So it just took off.
So you were starting growing your leadership skills.
Yeah.
At that time. Or was it already before that you were starting to grow your leadership skills? Or?
Yeah, the army was leadership education, so I guess it's always been there. But I didn't, as a 20-year-old, I didn't think in those, I didn't have those thoughts about leadership back then. But I think I was like 24 when I got my first leader position, and since then it's been like that all the time. I always end up in some position where it's a leader position, basically. Yeah.
How does it? I just want to understand how your mind works in this direction. Are you looking actually? Are you passionate about people, or are you passionate about progress, or what is it that drives that your growth basically?
Yeah, I'm passionate about progress more than people. But I'm also not stupid, so I know that it takes people to make progress.
Yeah.
But back when I was a very young kid, I was listening to a lot of hip-hop. There was a group called EPMD, a very famous rap group. And they actually made an album called Business Never Personal. So that's kind of my philosophy, and also why I do what I do today. Because I see so many businesses that have issues, challenges because of all the social aspects in an employee-employer relationship. So there's a lot of things there that I can do differently because I'm objective. Yeah.
How do you do that differently?
Well, I'm not tied to any hierarchy. I can speak to the highest bosses in eye level and tell them exactly what I think. I mean, even the most stupid employee would never do that, right? Because you don't tell your boss that he's doing everything wrong, if that's the case.
Right.
So when I come in, I'm totally objective. I can listen to the cleaner in the office, and I can listen to the CEO, and still, be totally honest all the way. That's a huge benefit, especially in 24, where we have so many, it's so fragile. The people are so fragile. I know it sounds harsh, but yeah.
Is that what you're observing? That this is happening to?
Yeah.
Why would you think that that's happening?
Well, I think that in Denmark, probably all over the world, we're going very much either one way or the other. So when things get very bad, very hard, then we go the exact opposite way. So it's hard to find the balance in the middle, if you understand what I mean. Yeah. So right now, you have all this. In Danish, it's called krænket. It's very, you cannot say boo to anybody because then they're like, oh. Yeah. So it's kind of soft right now, I think.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, yeah. Because for some people that may sound very hard, but I think it's kind of soft right now, and that's also a problem in the business area. You have employees that maybe shouldn't be there, but the leader in the office is maybe tied to this employee in a social way. They play paddle every Tuesday. They have dinner with the girlfriends, whatever. So that's where I come in, and I think that's a good thing because I can see past all these social and hierarchy and all these things. I'm just there to make progress.
Would you say that this ability of you to really see this how those social constructs and all that, would you say that is basically the reason why you've been succeeding so much in growth, like in your career and everything that you've been building on?
Definitely. I've had people telling me 1,000 times that I'm very hard and I'm very, I lack empathy or whatever. But I don't think I lack empathy. I just think that when I'm at work, I'm in work mode, business mode, business never personal. So I'm there to succeed. When I'm off work, then I'm just Martin. I'm a nice guy, I think.
I agree.
But yeah, so I don't have. I'm very black or white in that case. Yeah.
Is that because of the army?
I don't think so. I think the other way around, that I was a very good fit for the army.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's also why there was 700 seeking this officer education back then, and we were 60 getting through. So it was 2 days of physical test and mental test and psychologists and all that things, and I went straight through. And I'm not saying that to be, I'm so good, but just I think I was a very good fit for the army. This a little, hardcore approach.
Do you have a process you go through when you are invited into companies, like to assess like how can you bring progress, like in a sense? Can you just give a bird view of like how this process would look like?
It's very different from time to time. I've just been in a quite large and old company for the last 6 months. And they had a huge issue with leadership, and they've had the wrong leader basically, and he's burned the business to the ground. When I came in, it was just totally chaos. Everything was chaos. So then the approach is, of course, where do we start? Now we need to clean up. There's a lot of fires that needs to be put out, so that's one case. When I have a lot of startups as well. Maybe they have a good idea. That's mostly the case. A startup, they have a brilliant product, a brilliant idea, so it takes off from the ground. But then
it lacks structure and everything.
Yeah, but then suddenly after 6 months, a year, 2 years, then they're like, either they're growing very fast. That's good, but that's also a problem. Because what about leadership? Who can lead? They never even thought about it. So in a startup, it's usually like, if it's the two of you, I cannot get this to work. Well, try something, try this and see how it works. That's good in a startup, but that doesn't work in a corporation with 200 employees and a lot of customers. So either it takes off and then they need help, or it doesn't take off and then they still need help. So the startup, to answer your question, the startup approach is totally different from a grown company. There's also a lot of family companies. There's a lot of family bonding in that kind of company. That's very good, but they have issues developing because they are we've always done that. That's good, yes, but times change. You need to change as well. So it's hard to answer your question how the approach is, because it's always different. Actually.
Okay, so practically you just stay there for time and just observe what they're doing. And okay,
it could be a startup saying we need a leader, we need a good leader. What's the problem with a startup and a good leader? They can attract the right leader, because the right leader who has already succeeded, who's already on his road to a good career, he would be hesitant taking a job in a startup. Like, do I really risk that? Also, the next problem is the economy. can the startup afford a good leader with a very high salary? So the good thing with my approach is for the startup that they can actually tell me, we need you to do this and that. How much time are we looking into? And I can tell them, well, you can have me 1 day a week or 2 hours a week for sparring or whatever they need. In a employee-employer relationship, that constellation is very tough, almost impossible. So that's where they can actually get access to a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, but for a budget that suits their needs.
Interesting.
Could we give a bit more background to the listeners? So you started this new company after basically quitting the realtor. Is it called? How do I pronounce it? Real estate business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You started your own company, right? Well, what even led you into that idea of starting your own company when you already had so much know-how in real estate business?
Exactly.
You knew how to run that. How did it all started, and what is it actually that your company does in a broader?
Well, I actually but I tried it in 2020, just before COVID. I went together with some other experienced consultants who was already doing not what I do today, but similar, and preferably in the real estate business actually. So they were helping real estate agents, but on a consultant basis, educating their employees and strengthening their leadership skills and all that. So I started with them, and I started booking a lot of appointments. It all went very well. Then COVID came. The first thing that happened to us was every meeting we had was canceled because we were external consultants coming in.
Of course.
So that was the first thing they did, cancel the consultants. So back then I was like, this is not good. And you remember COVID, so we didn't know what was going to happen. So I actually went back to the real estate business there, but it was never with my heart was never fully in it. I did it because I thought it was necessary, to survive and to make money and all that. So, but still, all the time in the next years, I had this idea in my head, and I also knew that I wouldn't gonna do it with someone else, but do it alone.
That is interesting. Why? Why alone? Because when I started my first business, I very much messed up.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I was alone.
Yes.
I haven't had like people to like, fill up the problems where I like the things that I was not good at. Why that approach?
There's a thing called a lone wolf. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
I think that kind of summarizes me. I don't have the biggest needs for coming into an office, saying good morning and all that. So I work better alone in that, and also I can be more effective alone because I don't need to have a lot of meetings internal. We don't need to agree, which is of course necessary when you're more than one. And also I knew what I was going to do, and I knew that I could do it myself. I haven't made any services or products I cannot, do myself. So I did it alone, and I'm very happy with that. I think employees. I think I'm actually good with employees, but I don't like having my own employees.
But you have your own employees, right?
Yeah, I have freelancers actually.
Okay.
So I have someone I can draw in when I have some specific, challenges. Then I can use them. Yeah.
That's interesting. We actually use the same approach, but that's only because if we are short on money,
of course. Yeah.
So that's the reason why.
But there's also a difference in the money part is one thing. Maybe most startups, they have a dream. I always ask them, what's your dream? What is it that you want? well, we want to be corporate. We want to have a ton of employees. We want to be the biggest web company in Denmark, whatever it might be. That's not my goal.
Mm-hmm. What is your goal?
My goal is to help people to make a difference, actually, to be somebody who can do something for someone.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't need to make 2 million a year anymore.
No.
I've been there. It was nice, but did it make me a happier Martin?
Mm.
It did
It
not.
didn't.
So today my time is more important. I have my daughter, my family. That's more important to me. I would rather work less hours, but when I work, it's 200%. I'm a very focused person, so I don't do anything halfway. I always do it full or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also why I think this kind of life suits my personality and my strengths very well. And I'm a firm believer that you should do what you're good at,
I agree.
because it's most of the time what you're good at is also what you find interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It's a very, very good points that you are mentioning. So, going back to your company, you are consulting with startups and also not like older companies.
Yeah.
Mostly within. Is it mostly within leadership, or is there more?
There's more.
Okay, what is it that you?
I actually have 5 main products in my business. The first one is called Interim management. That is actually hiring. Interim means temporary, and management is leadership. So it's temporary leadership.
Why is
basically.
that? When do you use such a?
That's used. I spoke about this company, which of course I cannot mention by name, but this big company having a lot of troubles. They cannot just hire a consultant. They need someone who steps in and takes full responsibility.
Okay.
So
Wow.
from one day to another, I'm the boss of this company.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? I'm not a consultant.
That is insane. That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
huge. That must be a huge responsibility.
So when I show up, I'm like, hello, all of you guys, I'm your new boss. Now I need to speak with you one-on-one. And then, you start like this. It's totally, chaos. But then my job, of course, is to calm everybody down and to get everything going. Then we go like this, and then it's downhill at some point. That's typically where, my time is over.
Mm-hmm.
So this company I came in, I had to fire a lot of people, unfortunately. And then, the recruitment process starts. That's another thing I do in my company. So now I have recruited new people. Everything is going good. And then I can say bye-bye.
Mm.
So that's the interim management part.
Okay.
That's a full-blown leader role.
That sounds very exciting.
It is.
But also, whoa, just like just to imagine how that must feel.
I think it's scary for most people. The thought is exciting, but when you're there, I think, again, not to be anything I'm not, but I think for most people it wouldn't be possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a very cold job.
Mm-hmm.
You come in and you're like, you have to
to
set
deal with-
boundaries. You have to, and also when I come in, it's not in a good time mostly. Why would
No.
they call me?
Right.
They don't call me. They call me when everything is burnt to the ground. Then they say, we need help. So it's cold. You're external. You're not part of anything. And it's only for a period. Then you're gone. And I think for many people, at least, they need some social, the work thing is also a social thing, right? They need to have good colleagues and
Yeah.
So that's the interim management part. The consulting part is the next one. That's different because then you're not working in the company most often. You're mostly, at least I am, sparring and advising with new how to make the company grow, how to. It could be employees, HR, human resources. It could be sale. It could be leadership. I have a lot of experience and knowledge in these fields. So the consulting part is more an advisable part.
So you basically have a meeting with them and go through
Yeah.
different scenarios of what they could do. Mm-hmm.
I have actually a lot of companies right now, which I'm meeting with, maybe some of them once a month, twice a month, some of them several times a week.
Mm-hmm.
So that's more, at least for me, advisory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really. And then other 3 products?
Yeah. Then I have real estate, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I still, I'm not in any hurry to be a real estate agent again anytime soon.
But you're helping them.
Yeah. But if someone comes, you know the Danish esport Astralis? No, Counter-Strike. It's a big thing in Denmark.
Okay.
So I've helped them. They move around. They come from Jutland. Now they're working in Copenhagen. They need a place to live. So I've helped localize and also be a buyer's advisor, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I still have that in the program. And I must be honest, that's the least exciting thing for me because I'm, a little fed up with real estate. But I'm also good at it. So I thought, of course, it should be there. Then I have the coaching, which is more, it could be someone who wants to start a startup. Then, I can help them on the way, or they need maybe they're stuck in a position in a company. They want to progress. They want to be a leader. They want to be, so that's on a personal level, right? Career coaching. The last one is recruitment. So maybe most of the time as a consultant and as an interim manager, the recruitment process is a very big part of those two.
How do you find people that just LinkedIn, or what do you do?
Yeah, there's a lot of different, we have several job sites in Denmark, but we also have LinkedIn, of course, and then Facebook and Instagram, whatever. I use everything, but I also use my huge network, which I have from different businesses.
That must be huge.
Yeah. And that's actually also an exciting part, because most times, let's say you work in doing videos, podcast, then you come from this type of business typically. You've been maybe hired as a videographer or sound editor, whatever, earlier. So it's all very the same in that niche business. When I go out, I come in so many different areas. So I can say, oh, this
guy.
This is nice. Yeah, this guy. But also something they do in this niche, which is good. Like,
so you learn as well from
this
them.
is good. And now next time I'm out in whatever, another type of business. It could be a carpenter. And then, they did this over here. Let's do that over here. So this best practice thing is another thing that, in a consultant is very important. Instead of you're just doing the same again and again. And Albert Einstein said it best, he said, if you're doing everything the way you always do it, then you're a total psycho if you expect another outcome. Right? That's so the recruitment part is very big in most of the different things I offer, because the recruitment part, even in the career coaching, is just the opposite way around. I know how to recruit people. Then I also know what the candidate should do to be recruited, right?
All right, yeah.
So it's just two sides of the same table.
Yeah. When you're working with startups, could you actually mention approximately what areas of the startups are? Is it something confidential, or can you talk about the startups?
I cannot talk about my customers, but I can talk about the examples from the startups just without mentioning their names. But yeah, they have typically problems. It could be sale. How do we go out? How do we marketing, sale, leadership? When is the right time to take in the next employee, the first employee? How much should they get paid? Do we need an office? Could we work from home? How do we fire someone?
Yeah, that's
How do we take the difficult conversation with the? How do we lead employees? How do we lead the sale? how do we lead the marketing, when to do what. So there's a lot of different things, and that's what I said earlier. In a startup, most of the times you have a very good idea, a good product, a good service, and to get that going is often easy for a good startup, but to take all the next steps, and there's a lot of steps to be taken, that's usually where it gets difficult.
Do you try to still educate yourself on these topics? Like, do you, for example, read books on
Yes.
what
I read books, and also I've studied a lot of personality tools.
Okay.
So I'm very keen on Enneagrammet, which is
Is that the red, green?
Nope.
No. Not
that's
the one.
actually 9 personality types, and it's a huge world when you step into that. I've studied that for, how long is it now? Almost 10 years.
Okay.
And also DISC, that's the red, green, blue, yellow. I've taken a certified educator in that. So I use that a lot, actually, both in recruitment, in leadership, in sale. And of course, there's 1,000 other tools I've taken.
I only scratched the surface of those things. So. But it's very exciting. It's very exciting.
So the good thing with knowing so many different tools is you can always pick one that suits this company well, or the persons in the company.
How do you use that in sales?
Well, in sales, for example, you have when you approach sale, there's of course a lot of tools which are very general. You have to ask questions. You should be open questions. Now you have to get an accept, and that should be closed questions. There's a lot of different spin, Bela, a lot of different sales tools. They are very strong on their own, but they can be even maybe 10 times stronger when you put in like something like DISC, which is the personality part. Because when I'm like this, Simon, you're calling me, and I'm like, this is Martin. Yeah. Then if you do the same approach with me as you did with when you called the other Martin, and he's like, hi, Simon, how are you? Yes. Different personalities needs different approaches. So when you can use the good sales tools and combine them with the personality things, then you're like 90% of the times you score.
Okay, so it's like, because in recruitment, I could understand that you could like maybe do some type of test where you can find out the person's personality, where they kind of like fall into. But how would you do that with sales? How can you cannot just make a test?
Please take a test so I can sell better to you.
I actually have a good example of that. When I was a real estate agent, when I came out to an evaluation, I was invited home, evaluate my home, and maybe if you're good enough, dear Martin, you can get to sell my home as well. When I went into through the front yard, the front garden, 9 out of 10 times I could already tell who was opening the door. Never spoken to the person, never seen the person. But just by looking at how was the grass cut, what furniture was on the terrace, which car was in the driveway, was it clean, was it not clean, what color was it? So all these things can actually tell me, and I will bet you that 90% of the times I will be correct.
That's so interesting.
But that comes with experience and years of experience, right?
Experience and training and knowledge, because you need all those things. In my head, there's always, even when meeting you today, I cannot, it's automatic. It's just something telling me like, okay, he's this type, so I should approach him this way.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay. And now I feel super embarrassed about how messy our studio is today.
But I don't judge people. It shouldn't be. It's not like that at all. But I think it's a good skill to have, and it's a skill you can use everywhere. In raising your kids, your girlfriend, boyfriend, your leadership, sale. the more you can adjust to people, the better you will succeed.
Interesting. So, like so far, I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna put you on the spot. Can you kind of like tell what where both of us kind of fall into this the blue, red personalities?
Yeah, I can tell you that, but I think that would be a long conversation going ahead with that. But there's just to name the four, the D in disc, which is the red one, is the dominance factor, right? So they are that. They speak loud, they interrupt, they talk a lot about themselves. It's a me person, right? That's I'm very short now, but and the next one is the I. That's influence.
Which color is that?
That's the yellow one.
That's yellow?
Yeah. So the yellow one is the positive. They're talking a lot. They're always smiling, very social. So the D was the me, I'm important. The I is the we, right? Social, positive. They love get-togethers. They're out every weekend socializing. They go to work mostly because it's we have such a good dynamic, and my colleagues are so nice, and I'm very, very square now, but the S is the green one. That's actually the opposite to the D. So it goes like this. So the S is the green one, and the S is stable. So the S is the calm. It's the guy or girl you always call when you're sad. They're so good at listening. They always put others before themselves. So that's the helper, right? So they love helping people. So compared to the red one, me, the S is you. You are more important than me, right? Empathy, sympathy, help.
So it's very people.
Yeah. They are very shy in a way, laid back, very good listeners. They don't make very drastic, they don't, decisions like that. That's the D. So you can see the opposite, And the opposite to the I, which is yellow, is the blue, C. And that's not like me, we, you, it.
Okay, so looking at the problem rather than at people. Or...
So C is always looking to, it's the perfectionist. It's the structure guy. It's the I love Excel arcs guy.
Okay, I thought I was there, but no, Excel arcs.
No.
That was too far.
So to answer your question in very short, I think you would be somewhere in the IS area.
Which are colors?
Which are colors yellow and green.
Okay.
You like listening, right? I'm here now. I'm speaking. You think it's interesting?
Absolutely.
That's a honest thing. You are interesting. For a D, I don't give a peep about you. I'm important. Let me speak. I'm right. So, and the I is the outgoingness, and you are outgoing, both of you. You are more outgoing than you are, maybe. I don't know. Maybe because we have spoken earlier, but So you would be somewhere there.
Yeah, I do consider myself extroverted. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
You're also extrovert, or
no? I'm talking
okay about me. Oh yeah,
it's interesting.
So you're not in DISC. You're not one of the types. You can be, high on S and also high on I. Then you would be somewhere in the middle between these two. You get it? Yeah. And I'm actually in the opposite direction.
Okay.
I'm D, so the dominant. But I'm also telling myself that I'm not so much D anymore because I know this. I focused on not being interruptive or So if you met me 20 years ago, I would consider that I would be a totally different person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I just had this test taken recently, and I was very much in the supportive aspect of it. But it's also like how, it's also like it needs to be taken in when you have like this professional study context in mind, not necessarily when you're taking care of your kids, because then you're going to have a different approach to it, right? Because when you're having your kids, you're like attentive and all that. So basically, parents mostly just going to be like OS if they.
I don't agree.
No, okay.
Actually, in DISC, you have that's the extended DISC thing. You have a natural profile. So you, Sunday, a hoodie at home, no pressure, no things from the outside world. You're just you, right? Then you're the natural you. Then if you get pushed into a corner, like really pressured, then your profile changes.
Okay.
So it can change in different aspects, in different situations. Before, my profile have always been the same. When I've taken a lot of tests during the years, always showing the same in my natural form. My pressured form has changed.
Okay.
So earlier when I got pressured, I went into the I. I went very, explaining and trying to be positive because now we have a problem. This is not nice. So I was trying to be positive and look at the bright side and all that.
Okay.
Today, I'm more like, okay. So now I'm more going in the D when I'm pressured. So that's the thing with this. You're not, like I said earlier, you can always use it in all parts of life. Also with your kids, also with your girlfriend. A lot of the people I have educated in DISC have come to me within the first few sessions, and they've come and said, now I understand my girlfriend at home. Now I can see why she reacts, why she does that. That's an eye-opener. For sure.
Cool. Yeah, interesting. So I fall into like the S area when I took the test, but I could see a lot of things that I do there are D, which is the opposite.
Yes.
Because often like I'm in a leadership role, so I need to be decisive. Like and I feel like many times when if I'm not decisive, then there's confusion, or there's like it's just a bad leadership style that people don't know what to do.
But then we get a bit deeper into DISC. What's the motive? What's the motive for the D to be dominant? What is it the D profile wants? What's the ultimate goal? So the ultimate goal is
done, right?
About me.
No. I'm just
Okay.
talking DISC.
No.
Yeah. But
me as a D, because you said like the D person is about themselves.
but the opposite, the ultimate goal for the D is to win.
Right?
Get things done. Yeah.
Yeah, they want to be on top. Nobody should tell them what to do. So where is the D typically located in a business? What do you think?
Leadership roles, I guess.
So the CEO could be a typical D profile, right? He's a bit hardcore, he or she, a bit hardcore, can make quick decisions when necessary and all these things. Where is the I profile typically located in a business?
Which one was the I?
That's the...
I would say HR. Yes, no.
Happy people.
Yeah.
Socializing.
Marketing could be a good, outgoing and sales is obviously the talker, right? Listen to me. I have such a good product. And the S profile is typically a nurse, maybe, a secretary, one taking care of the child in the kindergarten. They want to help, right? And the C is the accountant, the CFO.
Yeah.
He knows all the numbers. He knows all the competitors, what they do and why they do it, and he has all the knowledge, right? So there is not one part in this that's better than the other. And to answer your question, of course, everybody can adjust. I can adjust to an S person as well, even though I'm not an S. You can adjust to a D because now it's necessary, right? So, but it's not natural. You get? I've had employees earlier which was very big S's. That's, of course, the hardest part for me to lead, the hardest person for me to lead because I'm opposite. So this thing with, the morning hug at the office, for me, that's just like, why?
Okay.
Yeah, you get it?
Yeah.
And for the S person, that's what actually makes them, this is nice. It's so nice to be here. Nice colleagues. right?
So when I can really see myself in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're like, good morning, and you're asking. I've had a lot of coaching sessions with these, and I always ask them, let's say we meet Monday morning, and I'm like, hi, Caroline, how was your weekend? And she was like, yeah, it was fine. And then she starts talking about
Let's go to business.
Okay. So, and I asked them, because most of the times we do disc as well. And I'm like, so you didn't ask about my weekend? Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, correct. Oh, how was your weekend, Martin, right? If it was an S profile, which I have a lot of us also, they are the first to, like, how was your weekend? How was your vacation? Maybe I haven't seen them for 3 months, but they remember that I was going on a vacation. So they was like, how was Paris with your daughter? Like, oh, yeah. So it's very, it's very different. And that can be a big factor in both recruitment, getting the right person to the right role in a company, right? If you're hiring a D profile as a secretary, see, then it's bound to fail.
Okay. That's very interesting.
And today, most recruiters, they look at qualifications, they look at how was the CV written, and all these things, and is it a good guy? Is he or she is it a good person? Do they have the qualifications? But they neglect to see the whole picture, how to build teams. You cannot have teams with only one profile. Like if you have an eye department with only eyes, then it would be the most happy department in the whole company.
But nothing would be done.
Nothing would be done, exactly. And with only D's, it would be
War.
Every man on his own. Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to learn how to be more D, I guess, because I would say, like, I would have a hard time speaking to somebody with like, okay, I am often in a leadership position, and I know there are some things that I so regret that I didn't step into D, where I know that this person is doing something terribly wrong, and I see it every time, and I just don't say nothing. I just it's like
Exactly.
That is,
and I have the same thing, just the other way around. There are so many times where I wish I could be more interested in other people. So everything, there's nothing good or bad in the different profiles, and we need everybody on board. In a big company, we need everybody.
Do you think it's harder for like a dominant person to learn to be supportive, or a supportive person to learn to be more dominant?
I think it's equally hard.
Okay.
Because for a green S supportive person, it's very hard to just take quick decisions. Let's do that and be the leader. Go first. The S, like D, what was their ultimate goal? To win, to be on top. The S, what is their ultimate goal?
Just for people to be happy, or like to make sure that other people are happy.
Yes, but what is the goal? Why do they want other people to be happy?
Because then they will be happy.
Yeah. And why?
For the others.
So they help everybody else because deep down inside they want to be loved.
Okay.
It's important for them that everybody else likes them, right? For a D person, it's not important. So for me, it's not important what people think about me. I don't care. But for the green person, it's very important. And nothing is right or wrong. I wish sometimes that I would be more green, like a green person. But I think it's equally hard for a green person to be an executive. What happens if the green person is to fire someone?
Yeah, that's tough.
And also the D the other way, he has to has a lot of empathy with this person being sick all the time and having a hard life. That would be hard for the D, because they would just say, do your job or quit. It's hard, but yeah.
Do you experience, because this is from my life, I can totally it's so much easier to be on the D side of it when I'm, for example, talking to Kim, like within the leadership, when we are just, equals, and I know that I'm not gonna hurt his feelings if I'm gonna say things straight. It's super easy. Like I can actually like, okay, let's do this and that. And I know that like we are fine.
Yeah.
But if it is people that I'm not that close to, I don't know them so well, then it's really hard to go that direction. Do you experience such a?
Yeah, I had an ex-wife who was green. We have a perfect relationship today, and we respect each other. But we were night and day in personalities. So when we were having a fight, like a serious fight, I would always be standing like, "Why aren't you saying anything?" And she was like, because she needed to. What's it called?
Embrace.
Digest all these things, all these harsh words flying around in a serious fight. She needed to digest. She needed to think about them, feel them, and for me, I was just like bam, 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 bam. Right.
Let's solve it. Yeah.
The next morning, so we solved this fight before we went to bed, kissed each other goodnight. The next morning, I was like, "Good morning," and she would be like, "Oh," right? So I was like, "What's the matter?" "Yeah, but yesterday," and I would be like,
"That's done.
That is done. Yeah, that was yesterday. Didn't we solve that?" So can you see the?
Yeah.
So it's so when you know these things, everything makes so much sense all of a sudden. And there's two things. One is you need to understand other people's profiles, but you also need to understand your own profile because that's what you need to change. You cannot change other people.
Yeah.
You need to change yourself to adjust to other people, right?
You said, oh, sorry, you wanted to say.
No, yeah, it's so interesting to hearing that because it makes me reflect a lot about like the way they react. And one of the things that I stopped actually doing was to share my ideas and like like entrepreneurship, like stuff that I wanted to do with a lot of people because I just didn't like them saying that was a stupid idea,
Yeah.
and maybe that's a very ass thing,
Yeah.
to like not want to, maybe I guess you're right, like to not feel loved in a way.
Yeah. And also it's hard for an S profile to hear that I don't like your idea. It's a shitty idea. Then you would be maybe hurt, or at least it would affect you, right? If somebody says to me, now I'm not Martin, but as a D, like I don't like your idea. Well, fuck off, right? Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
But it's very good at developing others, but also at developing yourself.
Yeah.
But is that something that a D should strive for, to be to go closer to an S, and should an S strive to be more like is that something that you see that is
well, if we just take a trip in the helicopter and look down, the perfect human being would be good at everything, right?
Right, okay.
So the perfect human being would be high on D when needed, high on I when needed, high on S when needed. And a person who has studied this for a lot of years can probably do that a lot better. But still, as I said earlier, it's not natural. So it's not natural for me to go and hug people in the morning at the office. But I thrive to do it because I know it's good for them.
What if you just make like a strong decision to hug someone? They've just been a D.
But it's still, it's I think that the need for physicality, it's like love languages. You probably heard of that, right?
Yeah.
Different needs. And for someone, it's so important that you buy them something nice or, I don't know. But it's the same here. I can do it. I can put my arms on the shoulder and say, "How are you today?" But it's not natural. And deep down inside, as much as I hate it, I don't care.
Interesting. You said that you've been studying a lot and you've been reading. I was wondering what kind of books do you read when you read, and maybe what's the best book that has had the most influence in your life?
I've read a lot of books. I also use the internet, read articles. I watch YouTube. I study Enneagrammet and DISC, and that's like real courses with the material you get handed. I think some of the best books I've read has actually been written by former elite soldiers.
Okay.
So like Jocko Willing and
Yeah. So there's a book called Jo du kan. Nikolaj Molgelet, he's a former hunter soldier in Denmark.
Okay.
And he had all the odds against him. He was a lieutenant in the army. Lieutenant cannot be an elite soldier. So they're prohibited to even seek the position. Okay. So I like this book because, he got in, he fought all the odds, he succeeded, and he came out on the other side. And today he has a big company, very successful company, and he does not the same as I do, but similar, right? He's also there to develop people and businesses and kids. Even.
So that would be the best book you have read that influenced you the most?
Okay. One of them, yeah. Definitely. I think I'm not limited to one kind of book. I can I've read sales books, which are good for sales, and I've read leadership books, and but to take one that has it all, I think that would be that.
Yeah, you can. Is that?
And I can relate. I think that's also
What would your advice be for like startup companies that want to do more sales, and like is that different approach you have for different startups, or is there like you should be on your phone 6 hours a day and that's going to help? Or
I think again it's very different from time to time what they need. I think one of the strengths I have is I'm fairly quick at realizing what they need, and I'm not afraid to say it. The D. So I'm not afraid to say it, and sometimes they just need a kick in the butt. That's also sometimes it's just it's hard and nothing is working out. What do? You're digging a hole, right? You're going further and further down. So somebody needs to pick them up, and that could be in a kind way. That could also be in a now get moving, right?
Yeah.
So and of course also they need different tools. I have a company right now, and they have been selling the same way. So I've given them a lot of tools for doing a little extra, doing this a little different, and now they're seeing a lot of growth in the sales.
right.
But that's just creating new problems, right? New challenges where now we need employees because now the sale is going too fast. We cannot, we're not keeping up anymore. So it's a journey, and for me, I'm helping people, even if it's one time, just one sparring. But for me, the interesting part is to be with them on their journey, right? And to see them succeed all the way. That's where I'm happy.
Yeah. So among those 5 products you said you offer, so your favorite would be like the second one, right?
Yeah, I think the consulting thing is the most important. Now I've been in a company for 6 months. My time is almost running out. It was 3 months to begin with. That's the interim management part, right? So, and I can feel now that my work is done. Thankfully, it's nice, but I'm also getting a bit bored now, right? Now there needs something new to happen. So yeah, I guess you're right. The second, the consulting thing is probably what I like the most. But it all ties together, right?
Yeah.
There is a consulting thing in the interim management part and in the recruitment part, right? So it all overlaps in some way.
How excited are you about the coaching part of this? Just to sit with people and teach them about leadership and all that.
That's actually, I consider it kind of the same. Like I just said, the overlap, because if I'm doing consulting for a business, couldn't you call that business coaching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So coaching an individual is kind of the same as coaching a company. It's different things, but it's still coaching and making them succeed. Right.
Okay. Do you have a specific coaching program? They're like, because coaching is a bit different than mentorship, right?
Yeah, it is. It's more like mentorship is more like telling people what to do. Coaching, they need to figure it out for themselves, right? You're helping them on the way. So that's the difference between mentorship and coaching.
Do you do also mentoring then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why it's so hard. Let's say, SEO, right? Search Google.
Yeah.
I have like maybe 2,000 different search words because it's not a raincoat, right? It's there's so many. Like, do you do mentorship? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to just put down one word which covered all. There are so many different aspects.
That is very interesting. In the spirit of podcast start now, as we are called, what would you say to people that are kind of thinking about, I wanna start something, or I'm thinking about this and that? Would you have some recommendations for them? Like, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to pursue their dreams, definitely. But I'm also a realist, so you cannot create a product, and just because you think it's a nice product, people won't buy it. People will buy what they want to buy, right? So you need to tap into a need. There has to be a need. But if you have a product which has a consumer group, customers, then I would say go for it. And just, again, not to sound cocky, but the first part of a startup in my world is the easy part. If you have the right product and if you have the fire inside you to do it, right? That's the easy part. The next part is crucial and difficult. Because all of a sudden, you see the Lion's Den. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So the Lion's Den in Denmark, what is it that most of the...
they need to scale up, right?
Yeah. And what do they say? It's not the money so much, most of them. They say, well, I need the money, but the money is not the most important thing. The most important thing is you, because you have experience, you know how to build, you know how to scale, you know how to... So they're actually seeking mentorship, right? Coaching. So, and that's my specialty.
All right. And I would just say, people that are listening to this, they should definitely call you, because I saw the reviews on your Trustpilot and they are really incredible. So the things that you are saying, I believe that they are true.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martin, for taking this time and sitting down with us and having this conversation. There is a lot of things that I will keep thinking on about. One more time, thank you very much for coming. And I don't know what to say more. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.